Hello, hello, Ederson Oliveira here. This is the DNN monthly chat, and I have with me Joe Craig, as usual, and Scott Wilkinson. Today is Friday, May 25th, and we are recording this the same day how's it called? Is GDPR?
I was just about to mention this is the day GDPR, General Data Protection something, the European Union regulation is going into effect. So
yes, and again, I'm quite sure that as you guys are, I am tired of receiving emails from every single business out there, stating their new privacy policies. And I saw a note from a post from Dave Poindexter saying that he has created a filter that any email that comes from that has GDPR in the subject, goes somewhere, goes and it's flagged as, I guess, as spam, maybe, Anyway,
do you have an official response? I mean, that's the issue I'm coming up. What is, I don't know. I'm trying to codify a single response to how you handle this,
But how you handle from a user or from a business standpoint?
From the business that's saying, hey, we need to be compliant.
You know what? Actually, let's hold that thought for a little bit down the road here, because I have one item to mention about that.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Before we get to that, how about we talk a little bit about our friends at DNN Connect. DNN Connect is coming up in a week, actually in 6 days. Yeah, from this Friday. So
a
it's
week from yesterday.
Yeah. So it's Thursday. It's next Thursday, 31st to June 3rd. Now, Joe, it seems that we have some dissidents here. It seems that we have people giving up on the event. Come on, Joe. I mean, what is happening there?
My kitchen, we are redoing the kitchen, and the schedule got slipped about a week and a half, which means that the destruction happens this weekend, and I was not about to leave the country and leave my wife without well, we're both going to live through the no kitchen part. So,
got it. So, you know what?
Bad planning on my part.
I have to give you that, Joe. That was the most elaborate excuse that I have ever seen, I've ever heard, I mean, my kitchen is being renovated. That's a good one, Joe. That's a good one. but the thing is that I believe you. I truly believe you.
I was tempted to get some pictures ready to show you that I wasn't lying, but trust me.
Okay, good enough, Joe. So
I think Scott can commiserate with me, living 13 years without that bathroom or something.
Yeah, I've done it all. Kitchens, bathrooms. We've gone without the kitchen for months. Yeah. You make do. Well, what did they do 200 years ago, right? I mean, it's still better than that, right? Still got water coming out of somewhere.
Well, hey, I've got a fire in the backyard. It's fueled by propane, so we can cook. We have running water other places, but the last time I redid the kitchen was in the late 1970s. So this time I'm not doing all the work. This time I'm not doing the work.
Okay, good, awesome. So again, our friends from DNN Connect, they are meeting in about a week. I hope that they have a great time there. Joe is not going, I'm not going, Scott's not going, but again, a lot of people are congregating to Limerick to celebrate DNN, watch a bunch of smart people talking about DNN and having a good time on the nice setup that usually are, the DNN Connect events. It seems that the weather will not be that awesome. But again, we cannot control the weather, so we never know. But again, I hope that everyone has a good time there. Anything specific that you guys want to mention about DNN Connect? I mean, anybody has anything there?
Well, the good news is this year it's being held in a modern university with all of the attendant features, so they're going to be able to video everything.
Awesome.
So yeah, that will be 4 to 5 parallel sessions, 2 days, and which probably means something like in excess of 40 hours of video for us all to watch.
Awesome. And Joe, by modern, do you mean 1,000-year-old castle kind of thing? By modern, is that what you mean?
No. It's the University of Limerick, and it's a business center. I mean, big lecture halls, giant screens, connectivity. So
I'm joking. I'm just joking because I'm seeing the picture. Now I'm seeing the picture of the castle, and it must be 1,000-year-old castle,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I think the really interesting part of this is that the accommodations are dorm rooms.
Awesome.
Apparently, in Ireland, dorm rooms come with private bathrooms, so that's interesting.
Very good, very good. So again, I'm looking forward to hear news from the event. By the way, and I'll mention that a bit later in the conversation here, but I've pushed a question to the presenters of DNN Connect just about 2 weeks ago about what is the one thing that they want people to get out of their sessions, and quite a few of them responded to that question. So you are more than welcome to check that out. All the links will be posted in the video notes. If you are watching this on YouTube, right below, you can see all the links there. Okay, that's about it for our friends at DNN Connect. Have a great time, guys and gals there as well. I'm gonna move on here to blog posts. I'm gonna move on to the posts that I have been seeing in the community blog lately, and I'm gonna start with one from Kelly Ford. And to be quite honest, I was not aware that there was a team that was taking care of documentation for DNN. I think I've heard of that, but I've never seen much talk about that. And now I know. So Kelly Ford is leading the documentation initiative, and there is a documentation group. Here in this post, he goes deep into progress that has been made, plans that are in progress right now, tools that are being used. It's a very, very detailed state of the union in terms of documentation for DNN. So quite a good reading here, talking a lot about a bunch of different things, all related to documentation. Thank you very much, Kelly, for pushing this forward. I'm assuming for leading the initiative here. Yeah, and that's called the DNN Documentation Group. That's the post here. Okay, moving on. And guys, if you have anything to add, please by all means stop me at any time. DNN Digest May 2018, put together by our friend Clint Patterson. He is bringing a bunch of updates in general, upcoming events, and there's a good tip here. However, actually, I've tried to implement this tip on DNN 9, and it didn't work quite well. There was one step that renamed zip file to resource. That step, if you omit this step, it works fine. If you follow the step number 4, it doesn't work that well. So maybe it's just about DNN 9.2. I don't know if it's, if it used to work like this as stated here. But again, I just want to make a quick comment on this. a few spotlight. We have been spotlighted in the digest as our DNN Hero 4-year anniversary. Well, it's not DNN Hero. I'm DNN Hero. I'm running DNN Hero since 2010. It's really the monthly chat. You know, this chat has been 4 years we are doing this. So thank you, Clint. But it's not the DNN Hero anniversary. But that's okay. I get the intention. I got the intention. What else there? A nice feature.
You have so many different identities. It's hard to keep.
Yeah, you know, you're right. It's my fault. It's my fault because first of all is that I don't put a consistent title for this monthly chat. Sometimes I call it news. Sometimes I call it chat. Whatever it is. We do this once a month at the end of the month, and we have been doing this for 4 years and 1 month. Another featured piece on the digest is an article talking about the adventures of Chad Nash. Great article here in the Forbes magazine. Very good reading. A few featured tweets, and yeah, that's about it. So that's the May edition of the DNN Digest. Next here, a fellow Canadian with a post in the DNN community forum called How to Secure a Whole DNN Site with an SSL Certificate. This is coming from Daniel Valadas. He is our buddy from Montreal. And here and there, he's joining us on our TUG monthly get-together, monthly meetup. So congrats for the article, Daniel. Very good one. If you want to set up SSL on your DNN website, he goes into a lot of details, into step-by-step how to do that on your DNN site. So very good one from a Canadian fellow. Okay, next one here. This one is from Andrew Hofflin. Andrew has been also joining us regularly. Well, I couldn't say regular because we are just going to our third meetup, but he has been contributing to TUG. We are putting together the website for TUG, and he very nicely volunteered to help on that. I call out for some help. He raised his hand. He said that he wants to help, but I'm talking here about DNN MVC module routing. It's an article put together by Andrew. Very technical one. If you are a DNN developer, you definitely need to check this out to see and understand better about module routing on DNN 9.2. And again, Andrew is also giving us a hand at TUG, our meetup website. And Andrew is just across the pond from me. He is in Rochester, and I'm on the other side of the same lake. I used to take a boat and visit a cousin of mine that used to live in Rochester. Just a side note here. It has nothing to do with our conversation. Anyway, DNN MVC routing. Good one from Andrew. Next one here. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about GDPR. And I have open in front of me an article from John Jonas. He is from Germany, and he put together an article not in the DNN community, but on his own website, how to be GDPR compliant with DNN Google Analytics Advanced. It's a module that actually he has, and they have quite a few free modules on the DNN store, and I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. But GDPR, what do I actually, this is quite a simple post. He, of course, he is stating here that he does not guarantee that if you follow these steps, you're gonna be compliant. But to be honest, my guess is that if you haven't done much so far and you do at least what he's stating here, you might be on your way to get compliant with GDPR. So he explains how to get, how he did that, I think, for his own site, and how you can do that as well with this free module that he has available in the DNN store. So have a look. Scott, you were talking a little bit about GDPR. Anything in particular that you have seen or that you advise? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that gets me is the the cookies, right? So that's what I'm not sure. You know, and I haven't read it in detail, but not all cookies can identify a user, right? Sometimes cookies are just some value, you know, the application might need to look at. And it says most cookies will be, let's see, most cookies will be subject to GDPR, which includes cookies for analytics, advertising, and functional services such as surveys and chat tools. So I guess as long as, you know, one interesting thing was one of our, an e-commerce client was talking about, well, you know, we need to have a messaging that says, but when they come to the site, you know, by using the site, you accept the cookies, you know, that type of message. And it's kind of like, well, what happens if they don't accept the cookies? Because you can't log into DNN without a cookie, as far as I know. You can't, you know, the Hotcakes shopping cart and most e-commerce systems are all cookie based, you know. And so I'm assuming that, you know, by accepting they're more just talking about the analytics and advertising type of cookies and not just cookies to identify some hash value that is your cart ID or your user session, you know. So that's where I need to do a little more reading and make sure, because I just don't understand. If you click no, you can't use cookies at all on the website. The website's not going to work. You might as well just pass them on to a phone number.
Yeah, but here's what I gathered, and again, very superficial information here, but if I understood this correctly, at least according, if you are using this particular module for DNN, this DNN Google Analytics Advanced, what it seems to be doing is that if you are using Google Analytics, which is subject to GDPR, it will ask you to if you accept that or not, and if you don't, it looks to me that it will stop Google Analytics from collecting that kind of information from the site, you know.
Right, and that's fine. I don't see any issues with that. I mean, I'm not the owner of the website, so if you know, if I can no longer collect analytics, I mean, yeah, that could be a problem. But as a developer, you know, that's more of a business problem. As a developer, I'm wondering about the cookie policies, about whether they have to accept all cookies or just the certain type of cookies that could be used for, like you said, analytics or just storing user data.
I get it. You know what? There will be a session from Kathy. Kathy, is it one of the organizers of the?
Oh, from France?
Yeah.
Yes. So she will be doing a session on that topic, you know. So I would hope that if that gets recorded as well, that we are able to watch that and get more insights into how we can comply in the context of DNN, you know. So, but again, this is a good article, and I'm gonna bring Jonah's name a little bit down the road again. Next one here.
I was thinking that he was actually talking at DNN Connect, but
I think he is
fairly certain. I think he's going to be there as well. So
I think he is. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the topic will be about GDPR, but I think that he will be there as well. He is one of the speakers as well. Okay, so moving along here, we have the DNN Tag community updates. The DNN Tag is the DNN Technology Advisory Group, which right now has changed leadership. So Sean Walker has stepped out as the leader of that advisory group, and Mitchell Sellers has become the new leader of that group. And in this post, he brings quite a few interesting points. And I'm gonna highlight just the goals of the group right now. One is to have a public community roadmap clearly stated and clearly, available for everyone to see where the platform, how the platform is moving from a technology standpoint, from a feature set standpoint as well. So that's the first goal, community roadmap. The second one is contribution process, pull requests. What it seems to be happening is that it seems that the issue tracking for the DNN project will be moving from Jira to GitHub, and that is supposed to bring more transparency, a better, clear process to track pull requests and help quite a lot on that front. So that's the second one. And the third one, which is the one that, in a way, it really amazed me if that comes to fruition, or when that comes to fruition, which is DNN releases being now led by the community. That's something. I mean, can you imagine that DNN Corp, well, it will not be driving the releases anymore. I mean, it will be done by the community. I find that amazing, and I find that very exciting and very interesting. I don't know if that has ever been done like that, that the DNN community would be driven the releases of DNN. And again, I don't know if I'm reading that wrongly, but that's what I gathered from community-led DNN releases. That's what I gathered. Again, I might be mistaken, but that's how I've interpreted this. I don't know if this is being discussed or if this has been decided already, but I find that very, very interesting. Do you have any input on that, Scott? I mean, have you seen anything, Joe, Scott?
Well, I think that was the promise. When Andy Treba developed the advisory groups and reaffirmed open source and reaffirmed the community's role in doing this, I think it has not happened yet, but with Mitchell driving the effort, I think it's, well, my understanding is that, the discussions are going on, and it's probably a little bit tricky negotiating the terms and conditions as to how this is actually going to happen. I thought the other interesting phrase in the blog post was continuous integration. So it will be interesting to see how that works out, that, when a pull request is actually implemented, that implies that you can download the current version, maybe not the current version, but the current continuously integrated version of DNN and get those little changes on a much shorter time scale than in the past. I don't know what that does for releases and that sort of thing. And it may be that they go to a process where those things are available and that they will be, maybe not supported, but who's supporting it? The community supporting it. Evoke remains a DNN corporation product. So how that works, I think there's some very interesting and tricky things to handle here. But the notion that the community is essentially leading the effort again, how that interacts with DNN Corporation is, I think that stay tuned. It may be interesting, but it seems to be moving.
Awesome. Any input there, Scott? I mean, about release and the community leading that?
No, I mean, I'd be interested. I think was Andy Treba still planning to do a keynote at the DNN Connect? And if they record that, I'd be interested to see if he mentions that and talks more about it.
Got it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So that was it. And if you want to watch the last TAG, the Technology Advisory Group meeting that happened on the 15th of May, you can also watch that. Moving along here, we have the DNN SoFright. So easy to say SoFright. And their last meeting was just last week. Yes. And they were talking about ADA compliance with Site Improve. Site Improve is a tool, and there seems to be some consultants there as well, but it's a tool that can analyze, evaluate what is going on with your site, not only with DNN, but with any site out there. And someone from Site Improve, her name is, let me get this right here, Dawn Watkins, and she was talking about ADA compliance. She has a lot of experience with ADA compliance in general, and she went really deep down here on the specifics about ADA compliance and how that applies on the websites and how their tool work. Actually, there is an extension, a module on the DNN store, a free module that you can install on your DNN site, and it connects to Site Improve to assess and evaluate your website. Now, I think that you do need to have an account at Site Improve to be able to make this work. And I'm not sure if there is a free account or not, if you have to be already a paying member of Site Improve. But you can go to the DNN store and download this plugin, this module that you can install on your DNN websites to get it assessed, evaluated, not only from an ADA point of view, but also for broken links, for best practices in general. Very interesting tool, and she demoed that tool during the presentation on SoFright. What else? Yeah, that's
they actually released that product, or at least the DNN version of the product, at DNN Summit back in February. They sponsored the event. They were on site, and she and the young man who was with her, they're nice people, extremely bright, and not above sitting down and having a couple of beers in the evening. So, there were several products that were released in conjunction with DNN Summit, which were interesting and might be useful depending on your circumstances.
Awesome. So again, Site Improve, all the links are there in the video notes. Okay,
and it looks like Site Improve also has a GDPR compliance process.
It does. Yeah. I saw that. Very good note. Very good note.
I might have to check that out.
Awesome. Okay, so this is everything about videos, blog posts. I want to bring this event that we put together, and actually my good buddy here, Joe Craig, he was the presenter the last TAG meet that happened the first Wednesday of this month, and Joe was talking about the. Actually, let me see here. I think I'm skipping. Oh yeah, no, I'm fine. I got confused with my own agenda. So Joe was talking about structured content in DNN, more specifically about two-sex content, what and why it is useful, and it was a very good presentation. The link to the entire presentation is available, and you can rewatch that one. Thank you very much for doing this, Joe.
And since that meeting, I think there have been at least 2 releases of Too Sexy content and several blog posts describing features that I'm still trying to figure out what they are.
I think that every time that Daniel Metal sneezes, there's a new release, And he sneezes every single day. Anyway, a segue to that is, I just want to mention our next meetup, which will be on June 6th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Our friend Will Stroll will be talking about e-commerce. We'll be talking about 5 things that you absolutely need to remember with e-commerce websites. I'm sure that you'll be talking a lot about hotcakes, and actually talking about hotcakes, they have a new release, and I'm just gonna jump that quickly. Yeah, I'm just gonna segue into that. So again, June 6th, meetup, Taduk. Hotcakes had a new release. Hotcakes Commerce 3.2.0 has some new heavy lifting, and there's a post that was put together by Will, listing what was done and thanking a bunch of people that has helped during this release. And I found something interesting here. There is some sort of a 14-day no obligation trial. It seems that either him or somebody else, I'm assuming that it's himself, Will and his company Appendo Ventures, there is a cloud-based offering that you can sign up to get your e-commerce site going with their help. I'm gonna ask him more about that during our Taduk meetup next in about 2 weeks. Okay, what else? Talking about new releases a little bit now, moving towards new releases. This is not a new release, just something that I came across. I came across a bunch of free modules from WeWeave, and this seems to be the company, as I understand this correctly. I'm not sure, I might be mistaken, but what I gather is that the WeWeave company is the company from Jen Jonas, and he has a bunch of modules on the DNN store. Tag Manager, DNN Dynamic Roles, DNN Dynamic Redirect, DNN Google Analytics Advanced, which was the one that you can use to comply with GDPR, DNN Hardening. A bunch of modules free, offered by him and his company WeWeave on the DNN store. So the link is here. You should definitely check it out. Actually, I will be checking them out to see what is it that each one of those modules can do for us, for our DNN websites.
Yeah. Looks like they're mostly non-user, like they're provider type modules.
Oh,
like
I see.
Google Tag Manager plugin, and advanced analytics, redirect.
Yeah, DNN Hardening as well. I'd be interested to see, to have a look at
so
that.
Maybe that's a better version of the security analyzer, maybe?
Maybe it adds to that, yeah. So I'll be definitely checking them out. Jen Jonas from Germany. Hotcakes, I have mentioned already. Okay, so we're gonna try something new here today. Before we started recording, I asked Joe and Scott to get a piece of paper and some pen or by the way, Jesse, thank you very much for your notepads. DNN for Less. No sponsorship here. We're just doing this because by coincidence we had our little thing here, all the same.
Hey, that's why you give this stuff out,
See, I have notes on my board. DNN for Less all the way. See, man, that's a vintage one. That's a vintage one, Joe.
This is yes, black and white, before color was invented.
They were not that fancy back then, Anyway, why did I ask you guys to have a piece of paper and a pen? Because we're gonna play a game. I said, you know what? How can I spice things up here? How can I, shake things around here? And I said, let's play Guess the Fake. Not the fake news. Although we could have a Guess the Fake news. Not the fake news, but Guess the Fake. And this time around, we're gonna try to guess the fake feature, the fake setting. I'm gonna give you guys 4 settings, 1, 2, 3, 4. We may have 1, we may have 2 that are fake, that they don't exist in DNN. However, all 4 features that I'm gonna mention right now, they are all related to passwords set up on DNN. So I'm gonna give you number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're gonna have 5 seconds to think about that, 10 seconds. You're gonna write down the number or numbers that you think are the fake ones. And I'm gonna give you
I can't cheat and open up one of my web configs.
Not really. I'm gonna hands up. First thing is that hands up.
Just a
hands
pen.
up. Great. Okay. The first setting is generate a random password. Don't say anything right now, but is there a setting called to generate a random password? Second one, minimum number of numeric characters. Is there a setting to set that up? Third one, maximum number of invalid password attempts. And the fourth one is, what is the password format? So 1, generate a random password. 2, minimum number of numeric characters. 3, maximum number of invalid password attempts. And 4, password format. Which one or ones are the fake ones? You have 10 seconds. Write down and show your numbers.
Did you say settings or things that could be configured?
Options, configurations, settings. I mean, let's not go picky on the terminology here. It's just about, are there options either in the web config or in the interface or anywhere on DNN to set those things up? And I'm gonna quickly repeat: random passwords, minimum number of numeric characters, maximum number of invalid password attempts, and password format. What is the password format? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. 10 seconds. I've downloaded the jingle from Jeopardy, you know, but I can sing that.
Are you gonna hum something?
I can sing that. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, do we have it ready? Let's go. 1, 2. Minimum. Okay.
I would
Joe,
go.
I can't see yours, Joe.
I wrote nothing.
You don't know?
I would go with number 3 if I had to guess at one, but
minimum. I'm going to say minimum number of numbers. That's what mine says.
Okay, so
I couldn't write that down.
Number 3, Joe.
I think mine's number 2, right?
Number 2.
Yeah.
It's Scott. Okay, so the right one, and I'm gonna write it down just to make it fancy because I have nothing better to do here. The correct one is 2.
Hey.
Hey, now,
Hey.
minimum. Hear that out. Minimum number of numeric characters. There's no such thing. There is minimum number of alphanumeric characters. Very subtle, but very unique.
There is not a requirement to have a non-alpha character.
There is a requirement. There is a requirement that you can set.
Have at least one, but not a minimum.
No, okay. There is a minimum.
Would the minimum be 1?
There is a minimum number of alphanumeric. Sorry. There is a minimum number of non-alphanumeric characters.
Okay, but not numeric characters.
But not a number of numeric characters. No. It was hard for me to put this together.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought. I knew there was a limit, but I have never seen just on numbers.
Yeah, but there is. But here's
I happened to encounter this recently when I changed the password, and it moaned because there were no non-alpha characters.
So next month it might be guess the fake module. It might be guess the fake feature. It might be guess the fake vendor. I
was going to say vendor name. If you just said WeWeave,
yes.
I probably would.
But the thing is that WeWeave is no longer a valid one. It's no longer, should not be an option because now you know that it's true.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
If you want to have a guess the fake module, do that at the top of the hour and see if by the end of the hour Scott has created it so it's no longer fake.
Very true, very true. Okay, so that was our new segment called Guess the Fake, inspired by fake news out there.
In the fake news category, you have to guess which is the true news because pretty much everything is fake.
Yeah, I was going to say, that'd be easier than what we just did.
I was thinking about the fake news, and I'd say, that thing of having the releases back in the community, that sounds very fake, I mean, that does sound real, Anyway, let's get moving along here. We are in our final...
It's no longer a pipe dream. It may not be real yet.
Yes.
But it's moved out of the pipe dream category.
Got it. Okay. So let's move along here and let's get to our finish line here. Just want to quickly mention about the latest tips of the week that we have been pushing out, that I have been pushing out. One is about sorting out mixed content when you are using HTTPS. So how you can sort that out, how you can go about fixing that. Another one, number 48, was about SEO settings in DNN. I go in a little bit in some details about that one and explain a few settings there that we have available in DNN. Number 49, actually I've been all over the place here. So 49 is if you are coming from another CMS, from another platform to DNN, and you want to do some 301 redirects from old .php pages or .html pages, how can you do that in DNN? How can you make DNN or the site understand what .php means or what .html means and how you do the redirecting? So I went into details about this one on video on the tip 49. Great. Now, this is a tricky one. About a month ago, we have been commissioned to move, actually over a month ago, we have been commissioned to move a site from Invoked to DNN platform. So, a few warnings. First of all, a few warnings here. If my head shows up in the wallboard of someone that is used to shoot deers, if this person confuses me with a deer and my head shows up in his board, you know why. It's because of what I'm going to talk about next year. So we were commissioned to move a site from Invoked to DNN. And we came across this nice post from Mike Smeltzer. He goes into some level of details and we use his post a lot as a reference point. However, because of the amount of work that was involved, I just decided that, you know what, I have to share this because we did so much work. We may have done between, 40 to 50 hours of work to do that conversion. And again, using the blueprints that Mike put together. Thank you very much, Mike. By the way, Mike was supposed to be here today, but he didn't show up. I don't know why, but again, your name is here, Mike. So thank you very much for the initial post that you put together. However, we had to go into a lot more details than this post made available. So I put the time to go step by step, record every single thing that we have done. And today it's already done. It's already recorded. It's not that we're going to be recording this soon. No, it's done. And today we're going to be going live with a complete, I think it's 14 video series on how to convert DNN Invoked to DNN platform. We go into a lot of details. It's not a tutorial. It's more of a case study because it was an Invoked 850 and we brought it over to DNN 804. So I went really deep to each and every single excruciating detail there. I hope that this, if nobody else out there use that, it's at least a way for me to document the steps and be able to reuse that if the need comes again later on down the road. But I hope that this can serve as a guideline, as at least a checklist on what people should do when they need to move, if they need to move from Invoked to the DNN platform. And let me tell you this now, seriously. If someone wants to move from Invoked to DNN platform, they should be able to. There should be a way to do that. Because here's the thing. If someone decides to stay and stick with Invoked, it must be for the right reasons. It cannot be because it's not an easy process to move. No, that cannot be the reason. The reason has to be, it has a better feature set, it has better this, better that, it has a support level behind the product. Again, if people want to stay there, it has to be for the right reasons. It cannot be because they are a hostage of that platform. So that's where really my intention comes from. If you want to move for the right reasons, there's a way, here's a way, and we can actually help on that. But that's my thought, that's my thinking here. Again, if my body is floating, belly down in the Ontario Lake, you know what happened there.
Game of Thrones style execution.
Anyway,
there's some other people that are still alive that have been doing this for several years, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't think that anybody has ever gone to the extent that we have gone to document this bloody process, But again,
they've been treating it as trade secret.
Now, you know what? I put everything out there, the scripts, the step by step. Again, there was nothing that we left uncovered there. There was nothing that we left hidden there. It's all out there, all the scripts. Now, again, that was the way that it worked for us, for our client, for our case. I wouldn't preach that this would be applicable exactly the same way, but it can serve as a blueprint to anyone that is trying to accomplish that. So anyway, that's it. That's my spiel about this one here. Let me get things finished here. I still have a few things. I know that you have to cut short in a second, Scott.
Yeah, I do.
So if you have to, go ahead. But I'll keep going here. Just a few more minutes here. Question of the week. I've been putting out, asking questions about things about DNN in general. I ask the question, I send the question on social media, to my friends, to my buddies, to Joe, to Scott, to everybody that I know in the DNN space, and I gather answers. And those answers with the question, they become a little video that I put up, and I'm doing that in a weekly basis. I'm starting to get people to ask their own questions like Joe. Joe suggested a new question this week, so I'll be pushing that out and on his name. So what's DNN? What's a must-have module on DNN? What's your DNN module development recipe? What's one thing you want people to leave your session on DNN Connect knowing about? How to pick a module from the DNN store? All those questions were answered by a lot of smart people, smarter than me, people in the DNN space, and you have a link to all those questions on the video, notes down here. That's about the questions. New exciting, Scott. Come on, you first. What's new? What's exciting? What's up with you?
I was gonna say GDPR stuff, but I don't consider it exciting. No, I mean I'm still kind of just trying to push out more client sites this month. It's been busy, really busy. So hopefully I'll get freed up in the summer and can get on to some other projects.
Awesome. Joe, anything exciting, anything new?
Well, interesting. Yeah, the top item in my email this morning was a note from someone I created a module for about 6 or 7 years ago, and it quit working. The site's a DNN5 site, so that's going to be interesting.
Are they complaining that it's no longer working?
It interacts with a web service, and the error message says something about the endpoint. So I'm guessing that something on the other end may have changed. So we'll have to see what happens when I get to that. The other thing is, I think I mentioned last month that I have been, still am, working on a site that was DNN, an early version of DNN7 that has 30-ish custom modules with a semi-custom data layer that I had been removing and replacing with DAL2.
I see a lot. I see someone asking a lot of questions about that in the Facebook user group.
Yes, and I've been working on a tentative blog post about all of the interesting things that I have learned in doing that. Including things like when you're building the data model, there is a decoration that you add to the class definition that defines. I've lost it. It has to do with cacheability, but the decoration is a string, which refers to a field in the table, which is used deep down in the innards. And it turns out that the string is case sensitive.
Wow.
Because it takes that string and with reflection tries to find a field with that name.
Got it.
And if the case doesn't agree, it blows up, but it doesn't exactly tell you why it blew up. And I also found in this thing that in the module definitions for some of these custom modules, the business controller class was specified as a single quote sign, and that worked just fine in DNN 7.3.2. But if you upgrade to DNN 7.4 or higher, that dies silently without anything in the event log. And it took me a while to realize I should be looking at the other logs. Bye, Scott.
Bye, Scott, yeah.
And if you do not know, look in portals_default logs, and there's a daily log.resources file that's created that gets a lot of stuff that never shows up in the event log. And when I started looking at that, I could actually trace back to where I should find the error. So,
got it.
There's no UI to look at those logs, but they are there. And after 5 or 6 years of running your site, you may want to go in there and delete the 5 or 6 years of daily log files as well.
Yeah, I know. That's the DNN log4net. Log4net?
No, this is not log4net.
No.
This is it's in portals default logs.
It's a log4net.
It can't be, because log4net was not in DNN 7 for sure.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So for that,
it's another set of log files.
I get it. Okay.
I think. Well, they're there.
Okay. Good. So
Yeah, and in terms of exciting, I'll refer back to the Mitchell Sellers blog post about the Technology Advisory Group and the movement to have the community responsible for the community edition of DNN. And presumably that Invoked products will be based on an unmodified, that the community edition will form the basis of the vote going on, so that the community is actually going to be driving the development at some level. And if DNN Corporation has changes to make, they will contribute to the open source project and then use those results in the commercial products.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. So in my case here, this is not necessarily about DNN, but it's about showing how awesome DNN is, to be honest. We have been commissioned about 2 months ago, or actually a month ago, to assess and have a look at 2 other CMSs. For whatever reason, the client wants us to assess 2 other CMSs, and I'm gonna give their names. The first one is something called October CMS. The second one is called Silver Stripe. Both of them are PHP based, MySQL, and Apache. The point is this: I've personally done the assessment on both of them, and I cannot tell you how much more appreciation I have now more than ever for DNN when we see tools that, in a way, they have a nice look and feel and a modern feel, but things are so strange and so foreign, and partially because I'm not familiar with those tools. That's fine. But I just see how much easier we can get things accomplished in our home turf, in our DNN, than in some other products out there that I see in the market, So again, I just wanted to mention that I have assessed, I have looked at both products, and I don't think that they can beat DNN not that easily. Just a quick note.
I've never heard of either of those, so now you tell me I don't have to. I wonder if you've done similar assessments about other, perhaps more well-known CMSs, that start with WD or J.
I get it. Not necessarily. I have done that, Joe, because the client is already familiarized with that one, and they don't want to go to WP. So they were thinking about, okay, let's have a look at some other more modern CMS. The 2 that I mentioned, well, they are supposed to be more modern for whatever reason. But no, I mean, I have not done for the WP. Actually, to be honest, I shy away from comparing. What I usually I go with the facts. I go, how big is the community? How active is the community? How active is the, plugin vendors, theme vendors? Is there an ecosystem that people can tap into? Are there companies that are supporting those platforms? So yes, the technical side is one aspect that gets assessed, but the other one is the commercial side of things, which is talking about community, talking about commercial products around that offering, talking about the company behind those products as well. So there's a bit of a combination, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of doing comparisons, but I really liked to, and actually at the end of the day, I have to get both of them running on an Ubuntu environment. Again, very foreign to me, all command line driven, again, very, very foreign, but I'm proud of myself because I got both of them running on something called Droplets from DigitalOcean. Again, very foreign, but I got both of them working under 5 hours each. 5 hours? Again, I'm talking about MySQL, Apache, PHP, all foreign to me, but I got under 5 hours on both of them. And now,
I would say you should look at something like VirtualBox.
let me tell you this, Joe. There is, again, that was the first time that I've heard about DigitalOcean. Actually, not the first time. The first time that I've used them. Very quickly, you can create what they call a droplet. And what it seems to be is a virtual machine for Ubuntu that we can, again, from a command line, install Apache, install this, install that, everything. And I guess that there are easier ways to do that, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, I found the process was a bit daunting because of my lack of knowledge in the stack. But it seems to be a very straightforward process. I documented the entire process as well, just for our own sake, if we need to do that again. So again, the point is, I just want to mention that our platform, DNN, is a very solid platform, very competitive platform. It, bringing the technology up to date with Microsoft standards should be the goal. But our platform is not less powerful than anything that we can find out there. And I'm proud of our baby, what is that? A 16-year-old baby? Anyway.
A couple of years you can buy it a drink.
Yes. We are almost there. Coming to an end here, just want to give a shout out here to the last video put together by Andy from DNNCreative. It's about modern DNN theme development with nvQuickTheme. He put together a tutorial step by step on how you can leverage the tool built by our friends at Envisionative, Dave Poindexter and TK. And introduction, installation, and setup. Very good tutorial there. It's available on the DNN Hero website as well. And last,
let me say the tutorials by Andy Stevenson are one of the least known treasures in the DN community. He does great stuff, and his tutorials are superb.
Awesome. And last but not least here, if you want to take part of answering the questions that I put out there on a weekly basis, you just go to dnnhero.com/Q, the letter Q. You're going to be able to see right away what is the current question. Actually, the current one is closed. But yes, dnnhero.com/Q. If you want to join us, if you want to participate, record a quick video on the question that I'm asking that week. And it will be a pleasure to have your face and your question in our weekly Q&A. That's about it, Joe. Anything else from your side, or can we call the quits here?
Let's call it quits, and even Canadians are allowed to enjoy the Memorial Day weekend.
Actually, we do at Desktop because most of our clients are US-based, so we have a little break there for your long weekend. Thank you very much, Joe.
Or a day to catch up and get a little bit ahead, right?
Thank you, Joe. See you in a month. By the way, see you at the end of June. And everyone, have an awesome DNN Connect. Enjoy, have fun, and share the news from the event. Cheers, hasta la vista, and bye.